share the videos. Of course, leave comments. I love the comments. It's good for the algebra rhythm or whatever that thing is. So the reason I'm doing an Ask Ron live today is because our next Ask Dr. T with Dr. George Suliatos, we're actually going to be interviewing Sergio Oliva Jr. So we won't be taking any questions. So that means there's going to be at least a 2-week gap. Might even interview someone after that. There was a couple questions here that I thought I would actually be pretty well suited to answer. They're not medical questions. They're not gear questions. More about training, eating, things like that. So I wanted to get to those so that these two people had some answers and they could get started on the path to gains, because I want everyone out there to make good gains and good progress and reach all your goals. That's why I'm here, man. So the first question is the one I put in the title. It's from a guy named R. Rod. He wanted to know, can you grow, put mass, kind of same thing, with 2 meals, 1 shake a day instead of the usual 5 to 6? Everything else being equal: food, macros, training, PEDs. And I think he also clarified, someone asked him, why, and that was all his schedule would allow, was 2 meals and 1 shake a day. Can you grow? Sure. Would you grow better if you could eat more meals? I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't believe the body can process gigantic amounts of food at once. I just don't. I think a lot of it gets wasted, doesn't get properly utilized. I'm not a big fan of intermittent fasting. I don't think bodybuilders should be going these long stretches, 12 hours plus, without any food. I believe we need a steady intake, a steady trickle of proteins, carbohydrates, healthy fats, constantly coming into your system to aid in recovery, growth, things like that, because it's a 24-hour process. I think they've tried to prove when the actual muscle growth happens. There's some point where it happens a few hours after training or whatever. I don't even know when it is. I'm not sure there's ever been a consensus scientifically proven as to when the actual growth following a training session occurs. But suffice to say, you do need all the building blocks in place. You need all the nutrients in place. So 2 meals and 1 shake a day, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. So if you're in a situation like that where you don't have a lot of time to eat, if you only can get 2 meals in a day, a shake shouldn't take more than 30, 45 seconds to drink, a minute. So why not? If you can only get 2 meals a day, I'd rather see you adding in 3 shakes if possible. Then you're getting 5 quote unquote meals per day, as opposed to these just three meals a day, which, I count shakes as meals. I typically like to have something solid with them, like an apple or some nuts, to make it more of a substantial meal. But I understand in a lot of situations, you can't do that. If you have a very busy, very demanding job, responsibilities and so on, maybe you can't. So I would go for more shakes. I don't believe 2 meals and 1 shake a day is anywhere near optimal. You can put some mass on, but I think you do much better if you could get more meals in per day. So it's like saying, can I grow if I only train twice a week? Yeah, you'll grow a little bit. I think you'd grow better if you could train 4 or 5 times a week. Just one of those things. So that was from R-Rod. Second question I want to tackle before getting into any of your questions, guys. It was Joe, just J-O repeated like 8 times. He asked the doc, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Okay, George, hope you don't get mad. If I'm trying to shred, is it still a good idea to have some carbs before training to assist during your workout? He had 2 questions. So that was the first question. Absolutely. I believe you should have some carbs to fuel your workout, your weight training workout. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty unproductive. I know there are people who train on, 0 carbs. There's people who train on a completely empty stomach with weights, which when I've done it, I had very unproductive, terrible workouts. I don't know how anybody does it. So trying to shred, if you have some carbs in your system, that's going to allow you to push a lot harder in your weight training. You're going to burn more calories that way. I wouldn't have carbs right before cardio. Maybe not. I think he's a doctor. Yeah, he's a PhD. Dr. Lane Norton. He's gone on many videos explaining that plenty of studies are showing that this fasted cardio thing that we've been doing isn't really that much more effective, if at all. It's all really calories in, calories out. If you're taking in more calories than you're expending daily, you're going to gain. If you're expending more calories daily than you're taking in, you're going to lose. It's just simple math. Supply, plus minus. That scale thing. So I would have carbs before training for sure. You probably don't need the carbs after the workout. So if you're having like a post-workout shake, you can probably just have straight up protein, either whey protein or whey and casein together. You probably don't want carbs in your post-workout shake if your main goal is at the time to lose body fat. Second part of his question, if you go heavy on your first exercise, should you continue with heavy weight for the rest of your workout, or should you pyramid the remaining exercises? I feel that when I go heavy on my first exercise, my muscles are exhausted for the rest of the workout. Yeah, I believe on going heavy on all the exercises, as heavy as you can with good form within that hypertrophy rep range. The one thing that I would recommend that I practiced for many years and still do is the first exercise that you do for a body part after you're properly warmed up should be a heavy compound movement, your free weight movement with barbells or dumbbells, because as you fatigue throughout the workout, your ability to balance and coordination is going to start diminishing. Even though your strength is still there, you won't be able to balance the weights as well. So what I mean by that is, let's use chest day. Everyone loves chest day, right? If you start off with heavy dumbbell presses, flat or incline, warm up, bang out 3-4 really good sets of those, then you try to go to another dumbbell movement. Let's say you did inclines first and now you're going to do flat. You'll notice your strength is still there. Your chest is still strong. And you can find that you can prove that by going over like a hammer strength machine or a Smith machine. You're still pushing pretty much the same amount of weight you normally would. But if you try to go as heavy on the dumbbells on your second movement after you just did a dumbbell movement, you're probably noticing you're starting to lose a little bit of ability to balance and coordinate those heavy dumbbells. So I believe in doing your toughest movements, your toughest free weight movements first after you've warmed up properly. Exceptions might be something like squats if you're someone who's prone to injury. Maybe you want to hold off on those till later in the workout. But as far as doing a heavy exercise, I don't believe in light exercises, really. I mean, maybe toward the end of a body part, you'll do something that's more of like a finishing movement for higher reps, or you do like a superset, something like that. But, you know, heavy weights, heavy weights are the way to go. As heavy as you can use in good form is what I mean by that. Don't be throwing a bunch of weight around. So those are the two questions. I wanted those two gentlemen to have some answers so they can get started on their gains and not have to wait a couple hours. So let's go to the live chat. That's why we do live, so we can do live chats. We'll see if you guys got any questions I can answer. Meals. What's the meals, man? DD Kinnert. What's the meals for veteran bodybuilder? Healthier, keeps size though? DD Kinnert, your English is, it's not good, man. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what the hell you're asking me. What's the meals for a retiring bodybuilder? Yeah, if I can't understand your questions, guys, I can't answer them, so my bad. All I speak is English and some shitty Spanish, so bear with me. Sugar during, post, or pre? Okay, I can answer that. How much chewing, though? Intro. Okay, so sugar. When should you have sugar? Let's just say carbs. I mean, all glucose, it's all glucose. The molecule, different forms, longer or shorter chains. I don't believe in having a ton of sugar before the workout. Before the training, I work out in the morning almost all the time. So oats and blueberries is with eggs. That's my breakfast. And then I go to the gym like 90 minutes later. I start training. During the workout, lately I've been doing, I don't feel I need carbs during the workout. If you feel like you're really running out of steam during the workout, you can use, Gatorade or that Armor crap or, Powerade. Mix it up with some essential amino acids, glutamine, creatine. So right now during my workouts, I have in my big jug of water, I have Tango from Redcon one, which is their creatine. I have a scoop of their glutamine, and I have a scoop of their Grunt essential amino acids. I was putting Cluster Bomb in there, which is their cyclic dextrin product, but I stopped. Because I've been trying to stay lean all year long. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, Ron Harris Muscle, but I've been staying pretty damn lean. I actually put a few pounds on last week or so. But I would say sugar after the workout is probably when you need it the most. So after training, what I do is 2 scoops, 50 grams of whey isolate protein, ISO from Redcon. That's where I get my supplements. And I do about a cup and a half of sugary cereal. It varies. Like right now I'm using Frankenberry, the monster cereal from General Mills. They come out every October. Blueberry, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, the three big ones. So I have whey protein and simple sugars in the form of sugary cereal. You could have Cocoa Puffs, Fruity Pebbles, Trix. It's all the same. Or you could have like a Rice Krispie treat. Like my son, I have him having whey protein and 2 little Rice Krispie treats right after his workout. Simple sugars. I believe simple sugars after training, that's when they're utilized the best. When your body really needs, it's all depleted. The glycogen's all out of your muscle. You want to get it back in there quick. Simple sugars are the way to go. Intra, some of you might want to do it. If you want to really keep your workouts in a zone where you can actually burn some fat while you're weight training, which is possible. I would shy away from the sugars during training. But if you're trying to gain mass, go ahead and have your sugars during the workout for sure. No problem. Okay. Fabian Henderson. I don't think most people could eat the amount of food they need in 2 meals to equal the amount of calories and macros equal 5 to 6 meals. Yeah, that's a good point, because let's say you need 5,000 calories a day. That's your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. That's how many calories you need just to maintain. Let's say a shake is only 300 calories. Let's be crazy and say it's a 500 calorie shake, maybe like a weight gainer shake. That's still, you'd need like another 4,500 calories. So it's like 2,250 calories per meal. Those are big meals. I don't know how many people can put that much food down at once. Not to say it can't be done, but I'd rather spread the calories and the nutrients out over a longer period of time rather than try to cram them all into just 2 meals. DD Keenat, cancer out could be a big antioxidant though? Oh, Didi, you're English, man. Is that it? You from Germany? No, I don't speak any German, so I'll give you credit. At least you can speak some English. I don't speak speak like 3 words of German if I'm on a good day. Held for review. We got some like porn spam bots trying to put crap on here. God bless them. Okay, so Kalenake Dopisi says, yep, 3,000 a meal a day for bodybuilders, or is a shake a meal. If not, drink shakes as well. I think he's just giving advice there. Zweiheit Malt. It's got to be German. Zweiheit. Do you drink the Marcus Rule shake? Water, salt, and 250 grams tuna. That's delicious. I've never blended tuna and drank tuna. I can't think of anything more vile and disgusting. Maybe liver. Drinking liver would be just as disgusting, revolting. Ugh. I mean, if you can't eat, like I remember the late Sean Roden, God rest his soul, Mr. Olympia, he had his jaw broken in, I think it was 2016 or 17. It was back then. It was a couple years before he won the Olympia. Maybe it was 2017. And for, I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks, he had to drink all his meals because he couldn't open his mouth to eat. His jaw was wired shut. So he had to drink everything. Tuna, I think he was blending steak. No, I haven't tried that. I will never try that unless my freaking jaw gets broken. And I have to. Then I would try it. Renewed. Why can't Hunter Labrada eat more unprocessed foods, and a certain gear like orals cause major appetite loss? Oh, definitely certain orals. Anadrol 50 is notorious for killing your appetite. D-ball can do it too. I've had the worst experiences when I used Anadrol though, as far as I felt nauseous after about 2 or 3 weeks on it, and I would only do 51 pill a day. I think I would chop it in half and have half in the morning, half in the evening, but they're notorious appetite crushers. Why can't, I think Hunter has said, and I don't watch all his videos, I do watch some, but I think he has digestion issues where it's actually easier for him to eat most of his food in the form of shakes and things like that, as opposed to solid meals. I mean, people talk so much crap about Hunter, but he's made great progress since last year. He was 4th place in the Mr. Olympia, his first Olympia, 4th place last year. That's nothing to be to sneeze at. That's pretty damn great. And he's put on, it looks to be about 15 pounds of solid muscle while keeping his waist small. So whatever Hunter's doing, it may not be what we recommend other people to do, and it might not work for a lot of other people. If maybe most people it wouldn't work, it's working for him. However Hunter's eating, it's certainly worked for him. Let's see, Renault again. Do the open guys all carb load like crazy the week before the Olympia, or do some guys starve themselves for conditioning? They all have different tactics. There's no one peak week protocol. I hate that word. There's no one peak week protocol that they all follow. Some of them keep their carbs much lower because they know from experience that they spill over with too many carbs. Others, they need it because I remember like Dennis Wolf is a good example, and Cutler too. They needed a lot of carbs. I think they were doing like 1,000 to 1,500 grams of carbs a day the last few days before, the event. So it depends on the individual. Some people do require all those carbs or else they flatten out and they look and feel horrible. Others, if they have that many carbs, they're going to spill over and look watery and puffy and bloated. And especially, a lot of people can't handle those carbs while keeping their midsection flat. That's another issue is you don't want a big gut that you can't really suck in. You don't want a bubble gut on stage. And for some guys, if they carb up to that extent, their belly is going to protrude. And it's not a good look for anybody. Mohamed, I've never seen that name before. Mohanad El Janzori. What it think about 212 Olympia this year? What are you think about Kamal? Well, I'm guessing if you're asking about Kamal that you're a Kamal fan. Kamal, he's an Olympia champion. He won the 212 Olympia. I thought he looked fantastic at the 2 open shows he did earlier this season. I was there at the Tampa Pro when he made his debut as an open. Pushed Akeem Williams very, very hard for that win. Almost won, I thought. And then I saw him in Texas Pro. Was it the week after that? He looked phenomenal again. I think he slid down to 4th. It was a tougher lineup. I think it's going to come down to Kamal and Sean Clarita. Clarita is looking crazy. Keon Pearson's looking really good too. I wouldn't write Keon off for a minute, guys. He's never really been 100% condition. The pictures I see of him now at, like 7 weeks out, I don't know if I've ever seen him leaner than that on stage. So if he continues tightening up and getting leaner and harder up until the show, Keon's got the physique that could win the Olympia. And there's other guys, obviously. Kareth Baggio out of Connecticut is my dark horse. He's looking crazy right now. He's looking ready to step on stage like right now. Kareth, who won, so he won the 212 in Chicago, correct? No, I'm sorry, Texas. And yeah. Was that where he qualified? I've been to so many shows this year, I get confused. But it's 212 Olympia is going to be very good. But I do see it coming down to Kamal and Clarita. And we had an article that Giles Thomas wrote in MD, the MD with Chris Bumstead on the cover, where he talked about the battle of the 212s. And I contributed a little quote to that. And I said it's kind of like comparing Ronnie to Dorian. Sean Clarita being more of a Ronnie physique with the real round, bubbly muscles. Kamal, not so round and bubbly, more angular muscles, but granite hard, really deep separations. Just the muscle quality couldn't be better. I mean, that's muscle maturity to the nth degree. Is Kamal 52 now? I'm 53. I believe he's only a year younger than me. He's up there, and he's still killing it. Still killing it. Renaud, would your son be a pro in Classic 212 or Open? With 100 more pounds, he could take down guys like Labrada, in my opinion. No, my son's genetics aren't as good as mine, and my genetics weren't spectacular. If they were, I would have been a pro long ago. Even though it was a lot tougher to turn pro when I was trying to do it than it is now, I still never had beautiful shape and structure. My triceps in particular were never had that real round, full look to them that you kind of need. Yeah, my son, we're talking about him doing a natural contest next year in classic physique. I wouldn't want him. He doesn't have any interest in using gear. I don't want him competing against people on gear. It's, if you're natural, I don't think, unless you really want to prove something, get like a chip on your shoulder, and you want to say, I beat some guys on gear, but, they have a massive advantage over you. If you're natural and you're on gear, people use gear because it works. So I would probably put him into a natural organization in the New England area, where he has a legitimate chance of doing well. But, he's only 140. He's a little under 5'7", I think. He's like 140 pounds. He still needs some more muscle. I wouldn't put him on stage right now. He needs more muscle. But even, for non-tested show, you'd need a lot more muscle. But he does want to do a show, and I think it'd be a fun experience for him. I think Ale Quicks is correcting me about Roden when he says 2017. That was the year that his jaw was wide shut. Ron Pete. Great name, Ron. You're not Ron Partlow. Can I have my creatine mixed with my intra during the workout or just wait till right after? I would have it before in your pre-workout. If your pre-workout doesn't already have creatine, I would have it in the pre-workout, put it in there. Unless, like I said, unless it's already included in the product. And I would have it in my intra. My intra workout shake. I don't have carbs because I don't feel I need them. You know, I'm older and I don't do well with a lot of carbs like I used to. I get fat and bloated. I have to keep my carbs a lot lower to stay lean than I used to, believe me. But my intra workout, essential amino acids, glutamine, creatine, delicious. Yeah, so I would have the creatine before and during. Did you watch Killer Sally on Netflix, Raymond Jones? No, I want to watch that tonight. It just came out yesterday, right? Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know them personally, but I was there when Ray won the 91 North American? No, 92? I think he won it in 92. Yeah, it was in LA that year. It was at the theater where they used to have the Pro Ironman every year. It's called the Aviation Auditorium. Yeah. So I knew Ray from seeing him at a few shows, and I'd seen Sally around, but I didn't know them, but it was pretty shocking when she killed him back then. Everyone was like, oh my God. I think it was on Valentine's Day, right? Yikes. Yeah. Renaud, is most muscular a mandatory pose in the open? Yes. And are guys like Walker and Valier not hitting the pose properly by placing one hand on the hip? Yeah, the most muscular it's one of those poses where you have a lot of options because the head judge will say, your favorite most muscular. That's what it's. Most of the shows I go to, Steve Weinberg was the head judge, but that's what they say. They don't say. I've been to natural organizations where they specify. They're like crab most muscular, hand on hip most muscular. They tell you which most muscular they want you to hit. But in the NPC and in the IPB Pro League, it's your choice. They say your favorite most muscular. So some guys will do the crab, this one. Some guys will do the hands on hip. Some guys will do one hand on the hip. There's no rules. It has to be one of those three, basically. It's either what I call the clasp, where the hands are clasped, like Leveroni, the crab, the hand on hip, which like Gary Stridham and Rich Gaspari back in the day looked amazing doing. But no, they're not doing it wrong. It's just you have your choices. What does bug me is the judge says your favorite most muscular, which would lead you to think, well, they can only hit one version of it, right? But they all end up hitting like at least two. They'll start off with one. Even if they start off with like hands on hip or one hand on hip, they always end with the crab or opposite. They'll start with the crab and then do another one. So if I was a head judge, I'd be like, pick one. Stop effing around, you guys. But, it's a very popular pose. It's funny how, especially in the pros, when the head judge says that, at least half the guys who are up there for the call out, they start going, they get psyched because everyone thinks that's their best pose. And you know what? It's a great pose for a lot of people who don't have really pretty structure. Like for instance, I never had a great structure. My waist wasn't tiny like my son has a much smaller waist than I do. So we don't have the same exact genetics. He's got like half my genes and then the other half from my wife. But guys with like blocky waists and not pretty shaped, they tend to look pretty good in a crab most muscular because you can't see everything. The structure really isn't evident. You're just seeing this ball of muscle, the delts, the traps, the pecs, the arms. Krizo has an awesome crab most muscular, Michael Krizo. I think that's his best pose. It's so much mass, so much round, full, dense muscle mass when Krizo hits that shot. Please, something? Are you doing thumbs down? Please thumbs down, Fuad's videos is your name? You're constantly pushing old bodybuilders to compete again, but when it comes to your son, you're steering away from open completion. No, I'm not pushing. I don't push anybody to compete. No, I don't push. And when it comes to drugs, I don't encourage anyone out there to use drugs. If people are going to use them anyway, if I can caution them and help them do it a little safer than they were going to do it, but if you've already made up your mind to do drugs and you're going to compete in an organization where there's no testing and everyone's on drugs, you're going to use, if you want to do well, you have to do drugs. But no, my son has no interest in using gear, drugs, and I don't want him to. He's my son. I love him to death. I don't want him to have any health problems. I've been very lucky. Maybe he wouldn't be as lucky. Maybe he would have severe adverse effects. kidney, liver, heart, who knows? I mean, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out my only son has a severe health issue because of steroids, which I, gave him a blessing to use, and I wouldn't do that. He's my son. But I don't encourage anyone out there to use steroids. If you have to use them because you want to win a contest where everyone's using them, and you still don't have to, but you got to keep up with the Joneses. You got to do what everyone else is doing. But no, I don't encourage anyone out there to use steroids. If you want to stay natural, you won't get as big and freaky looking, but you keep everything you gain. That muscle's all yours. When you're on steroids, you're renting part of the muscles. It's not yours to keep, because when you go off the steroids, you lose a substantial amount of that muscle. So it's not all yours. But when you're natural, all this muscle that you build naturally, it's yours to keep. You don't have to worry about it going away. Like, oh no, I got to go off my trend test DECA and I'm going to lose 10, 15, 20 pounds. No. So, no, I mean, I tell everyone, natural is the way, it's the healthiest way. The healthiest way to bodybuild is natural bodybuilding, 100%. Would never say that gear and drugs are healthy. They're not. Nope. You can try to mitigate the risk and you can try to do it a little more safely, but compared to natural bodybuilding, enhanced bodybuilding is not healthy. And anyone who tries to say that, they have an agenda. They're trying to sell you something. So don't even listen. It's not healthy. Yajit, how should I use progressive overload? If I use increased 1 rep method for each workout in every set, should I use 1 rep for every set, or some sets for 20% workout, 20 reps per workout? There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can try to do a rep or 2 more with the same weight. You can try to gradually increase the weight. And, when you're trying to gradually increase the weights, if your gym doesn't have those little tiny 2.5 pound plates, you could probably buy them online, like on Amazon or something, for a few bucks. And that's a way just to add 5 pounds to a barbell. Instead of the minimum plates are usually like 5 pounders. So then 1 on each side, that's 10 pounds. That's a lot. That's a big jump in weight. And dumbbells tend to go up in 5 pound increments, sometimes only 10. So you'll see like 25, 30, 35, 40. But yeah, once you get past like 100, it's usually 100, 110, 120. There's usually no, I know they do make them, but a lot of gyms, once they get to 100, everything past that is increments of 10 pounds. So you can there's no one standard way to do progressive overload. You can either try to do a little more, a rep or 2 more every time with the same weight until you get to, say the top end of the rep range, and then you can add a little bit more weight and start all over again, trying to add like a rep or 2 as weeks go by. There's so many different ways to do it. Renaud, are you in Rhode Island? Is the bodybuilding powerlifting scene big there? No, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm in an area called the South Shore, south of Boston. Rhode Island's not far away from me. It's like a half-hour drive away. There's this whole area, New England area, I would say, it's always had a pretty strong bodybuilding and powerlifting community. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then when you go a little further south, New York, New Jersey, they've had tons of great bodybuilders and powerlifters come out of there. What's the biggest cycle you ever ran, like over under 2 grams a week? Renaud? I've done 3 gram cycles a couple times. It was a lot. I didn't feel good. I didn't look much better. I did a whole video on Ask Ron like 3 months ago about my biggest cycle ever, and I actually outlined the whole thing. If you search Ask Ron, I think it's called My Biggest Cycle Ever, and I broke the whole thing down. Because I had the amounts written, and I was referencing them as I was talking. So I believe I was doing 3 grams. I think I was talking about my 2002 New England contest prep. That was a big cycle for me. I think it might have been over 3 grams. And yeah, I did look pretty good. That's one of the best looks I ever had. So, but no, I never did like 4 or 5, 6 grams. I never did. Plenty of other people have. Let's see. Ron P., what are your thoughts on tuna and rice as a meal for gaining mass? Yeah, tuna and rice, chicken and rice, steak and potatoes. Basically any meat and any carb together is a great meal for gaining. If you're someone with a real fast metabolism, you probably want to go for like not the white albacore tuna, but the cheaper tuna that's got more fat in it and more oil. And with the chicken, instead of chicken breasts, you go for chicken thighs, which is cheaper. I think it tastes better. It's more moist. Red meat, ground turkey, all those are good things. Potatoes, rice, oatmeal, Can't go wrong. Let's see. 2 meals, what the F? Stephen Tello, Nate's brother? What's up, Stephen? Can you mention that Boston, Mass has a new podcast out earlier this week? Yeah, there are some interesting stories about Jay Cutler visit Gym Hub this past weekend. Thanks. Yeah, I actually did a video with Jose. It's going to come out probably next week. I'm not really sure when we're going to post it. Another edition of No Way Jose, and we talked about the last New England show that happened while I was out of town. I didn't get to go to it, but Jose was there judging, and then Jay Cutler was in town because he's the co-promoter with Steve Weinberger, and he spent 4 days. He was at Gym Hub training himself and hanging out with the members. So that podcast is on Jose's channel, The Boston Mass. Check that out here, guys. They do a great show. John Livia, what's up, John? How difficult is it to build muscle after the age of 45? So there's two factors to consider with that. How long have you been training and how much muscle have you already built based on where you started from? If you were someone who started training at like 14, 15, now you're 45, you probably built all the muscle you're going to build. You're not going to be, you don't see 70-year-old guys putting on muscle unless they just started training and they've never trained their whole lives. So training age, experience is a huge factor to look at there. A 45-year-old guy who's just starting to train, just getting into bodybuilding, lifting and all that, and eating like a bodybuilder, he'll make some really good gains. Not as good as he would have if he was 20 or 25. No, it's not the same body you had at that age. So the other thing you look at is your hormones. What's your total free testosterone, your SHBG? If those are all maximized, you should still be able to make really good gains. If your test levels are low, that's certainly going to affect your ability to put on muscle mass. But like I always say, if your levels are low, as proven legitimately through blood work, you can get on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, through a doctor who will give you just enough to put you in an optimal range. There's clinics out there too, Frontline Alternative, Transcend. There's tons of them that work with people who are trying to optimize their hormone levels. So if you're 45 and your hormone levels are good, or normal or above, in a nice range, and you haven't been already training for a million years, and you haven't accumulated a lot of injuries, that's another thing. A 45-year-old who's been training for 25, 30 years is going to have a lot of wear and tear on the joints, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the knees, the hips, the lower back. I mean, I'm in all kinds of ridiculous pain, like all the time. But that's the game we play. The body gets beat up lifting heavy weights for years and years and years. I hope I answered your question, John. John has an awesome new show. We've had one episode out. It's called MD Muscle Talk. Second edition's coming out next few days. So stay tuned to this channel. I hope you have your notification on. Kamali was a guest, Jason Arntz and Nate Spear, and John Livia, the host and moderator. Let's see. Maestro, you can eat many meals. Just look how much calories you eat. You can eat low-calorie food and much just control calorie intake. Yeah, depends. Not really sure what you mean by that. Renaud, did you interact with Palumbo back in the 90s when he was huge? And what was his personality like? Yeah, I knew Dave a little bit back then. I knew him best when we were both working for Muscular Development, which wasn't too long. He wasn't with the company that long, but yeah, I got along fine with him. He was the online editor. He was the first online editor, which is one of the two jobs I have now. I'm the online editor for all this stuff, the YouTube channel, and I'm also the senior writer for the print magazine, which we are the last print magazine. We still put out a print magazine every month, and I do most of the features and a lot of the sections, columns as well. But yeah, I got along fine with him back then. He was fine. Akon Lipo, growing very fast. Tell me what the meal and should eat. If you're growing very fast, you're already eating very well. Maestro, do you have any side effect after using PEDs? Well, there's a lot of. Do I? I mean, after using PEDs? Well, I haven't really stopped using them for many, many years. I've been on them constantly. Moderate doses, not high doses, or otherwise I'd be dead probably. But yeah, everyone gets side effects. Everybody gets, especially if you stop using them, you're going to have a crash. You're going to have low testosterone. You're going to have low energy, depression. You're going to lose size, strength. You're going to gain some body fat. Yeah. I never had gyno in my life, thank God. Never got it, even though I didn't use any aromatase inhibitors. Never got gyno. The hairline, I have 4 brothers. They all have the same hairline. Some of them have way less hair than me, and they don't use steroids. So, did you work out with any IFBB woman bodybuilders? No, not really. Big Mo, from Andrew Jack video working out with Rolly. How do you feel about less weight with lots of reps? Seeing it still gives an extreme pump as opposed to using extreme weight with less reps. I don't think any bodybuilder should be using very low reps, like, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps. That's powerlifting. And like I said, if those guys are doing so well with moderate weight and higher reps and getting great pumps, who's anybody to tell them, oh, you're training all wrong? At the end of the day, if you're getting great results, if whatever you're doing is working for you, it's working for you. If heavyweights and low reps work great for you, keep doing it. Ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I say. Do you take a statin? Thanks, sir. Jet Cool. Ron, do you take a statin? If so, what's your dose and do you experience any muscle soreness or joint pain? I take 10 milligrams of a generic Lipitor called the Torvastatin. I take that every morning. I do not have any side effects, no muscle soreness from it all. And it's just because I have a little bit of calcium in my arteries and I don't want any more. And that does prevent the calcium buildup. So yeah, I'm on 10 milligrams of Lipitor every day. Dragan Daniel, as bodybuilders who eat a lot, a fiber supplement would help with digestion? It would help you poop. I don't know. Probiotics would help you with digestion. Fiber is really just to help you poop, to go to the bathroom. Currently I'm at 500, 900 grams rice a day. I don't have problems eating, but sometimes I feel like I'm sick. Yeah, try digestive enzymes, probiotics, stuff like that. Maestro, you look really good. Can't lie. Keep up the work, champ. Thank you, Maestro. Believable, Curricle, Veep. Akon, what are you got a bunch of nonsense here. Well, guys, it's almost 3:30 here, Eastern, United States of America. So, needlepoint. Yeah, you just like typing a bunch of nonsense words. Anyway, guys, appreciate all the questions. Appreciate you hanging out with me here for a little bit. I hope I was able to help answer some of your questions. And I'll do another one of these in a few days. Don't worry. So appreciate you watching. Again, like, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you know when we have videos. We have so much good content on this channel. I urge you to check it all out. Just click on videos and you're going to see a lot more content. Yeah, this is Akon. I don't know what you're up to here. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Keep it right here, Muscular Development YouTube channel. We're trying to give you the best possible content. And that's it. See you guys later.